You know that feeling, right?
Mm.
That sudden uh, lurch in your stomach before a big
Yeah.
presentation.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Or maybe that overwhelming dread when you walk into a crowded party.
Yeah.
Or even just thinking about stepping up to a microphone. Your heart pounds, palms get sweaty. It feels huge.
Monumental sometimes.
Right. And this isn't just, normal stage fright for everyone. For a lot of us, it's this really profound fear. It can genuinely hold us back. We actually heard from a listener, Maria.
Ah, yes.
She shared how she missed out on a fantastic job opportunity. The final stage involved an unrehearsed panel discussion, and the anxiety just, well, it got the better of her.
That's tough. And it's incredibly relatable, isn't it? This deep-seated anxiety about, well, how others see us, how we'll perform. It can feel totally overwhelming in our modern world.
It really can. And it often leads us to avoid situations that could actually be amazing for us or really fulfilling.
Exactly.
And that's what this deep dive is all about today, courage. But maybe not the kind you first think of, like battlefield heroics.
No, not that kind. We're talking about the everyday courage, the kind we need to face these very modern fears, specifically things like public speaking and social anxiety.
Our mission, then, is to unpack some powerful Stoic principles. We're looking at ideas from thinkers like Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, ancient guys, but wait till you hear this.
Mm-hmm. We want to show you how focusing on what's truly, genuinely within your control can help manage that social anxiety, how it can help you speak with, well, authenticity and confidence.
It's ancient wisdom, yeah, but it feels surprisingly relevant for tackling today's challenges, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Like it was written for right now.
So for many of us, this fear of public speaking, it often feels like such a modern thing. A result of our hyper-connected world, everyone's a critic online.
Right, the constant performance aspect.
Exactly. But if you dig a little deeper, the underlying anxieties, the fear of judgment, the fear of failure, even just feeling vulnerable, being seen, they're actually as old as philosophy itself.
Oh, definitely. And what's really fascinating here is how the Stoics understood emotions, or passions, as they call them.
Passions, right.
Yeah. Seneca, for instance, he didn't really pull any punches when describing anger. He called it brief insanity.
Wow. Brief insanity.
Yeah, he argued it causes enormous damage, even saying, no plague has cost the human race more. Strong words.
That is strong. And you're saying this applies beyond anger to anxiety, too.
Absolutely. Think about it. This idea applies to any destructive negative emotion, including anxiety and fear. These aren't just uncomfortable feelings. They can absolutely shatter our tranquility, our inner peace. They act almost like anti-joy.
Anti-joy, I like that. It captures how they steal our potential for happiness.
Exactly. And unless we learn to manage them, to get some kind of handle on them, we risk being perpetually disturbed, constantly upset, and, yeah, prevented from living our best lives.
Okay, but it's one thing to say control your emotions, and another thing entirely when you're, in the grip of real fear. Is it truly possible? Did the Stoics think we could just switch these feelings off?
That's a really sharp question because it gets right to the heart of their approach. It's not about flipping a switch. Epictetus, he asks this really important question. It cuts right to the core. If the good of man is in the will.
And by will here, we mean our ability to choose rationally, our inner compass, right? Not just wishing.
Precisely. Our faculty for rational choice. So if our good lies there and everything else does not concern us, then why, Epictetus asks, are we still disturbed, still afraid?
Good question.
His suggestion is that our fears often stem from desiring things or outcomes that are not in our power. So it's less about switching off feelings and more about understanding where they come from and redirecting our inner choices, our judgments about things.
Ah, okay. So it's about understanding the source of the fear, often linked to wanting things we can't guarantee.
Exactly. And that leads us directly into a really foundational Stoic concept that helps clarify all this.
Right. So the insight is that our true value, our good, comes from how we choose to act and think inside, not from external results. It's quite a shift. Okay, let's unpack this fundamental principle, the dichotomy of control. Sounds simple, but I get the feeling it's incredibly powerful.
Oh, it is profoundly powerful. This concept, it's central to Epictetus, and it makes this crystal clear distinction between what is up to us, what's in our complete control, and what is not.
Okay, so what falls into that up to us category?
Well, primarily our correct use of impressions, impulses, and judgments. Let's break that down. An impression might be seeing someone frown while you're speaking.
Okay.
An impulse might be that immediate urge to feel defensive or flustered. But your judgment, that's the key Stoic lever. That's where you decide, does this frown truly mean something bad about me? Does it warrant me losing my cool? Or can I choose a different response?
So the judgment is the conscious decision point.
Exactly. Marcus Aurelius builds on this. He says we have complete control over our goals and values, and crucially, our character.
Our character.
Like how?
Like choosing qualities such as sincerity, dignity, industriousness, sobriety, or actively taking steps to curb arrogance, control our temper, maybe even just stop grumbling so much.
That.
These things, Marcus points out, can be ours at this very moment, if we choose for them to be.
Wow. If we choose for them to be, that really puts the responsibility squarely on us, doesn't it? It's not a wish, it's an active, ongoing decision.
It is. It's about internal action.
Okay, so what about the other side of that coin? What's not in our control? What do we need to learn to let go of?
Right. And this is the very large set that essentially comprises all things external to our conscious mind. Epictetus gives examples. The body, property, reputation, office.
So like physical health.
Your body can get sick, yeah, even if you try to be healthy. Your property might be lost or damaged. Your reputation could be ruined by gossip, totally unfairly. You might lose your job due to company downsizing, nothing to do with your performance. Okay, so basically, everything outside our own mind and choices.
Pretty much everything external, everything which is not our own doing, as Epictetus puts it. The profound insight here isn't just passive acceptance, like, oh, well, that's fate. It's realizing how much mental and emotional energy we waste trying to control these uncontrollables.
Right, energy that could be used much better elsewhere.
Exactly. Energy we could invest in our true sphere of influence, our thoughts, our judgments, our actions. And here's the kicker for a discussion. The audience's reaction to your speech.
That falls into
Squarely into the not in our control category. Their opinions, their applause, their criticism, their boredom, none of that is ultimately up to you.
that feels simultaneously terrifying and incredibly liberating.
It is. It's a strategic redirection of our most valuable resources, our attention, our energy, our inner peace.
Okay, so that core message, focusing solely on what's in our control, sounds great in theory. But for someone actually standing there, heart pounding, about to speak, how do we translate that? How does that philosophy become practical action in the moment? What can we truly own?
This is where it gets really interesting and practical. When you apply the dichotomy of control directly to that fear of public speaking, it becomes super clear. You can't control how people react, no. But you absolutely can control your preparation, your message, and your intentions. These are your true assets in that situation.
Okay, let's dig into preparation.
Yeah.
What does that mean in a Stoic sense? Is it just about writing notes and rehearsing?
It's more than just notes. It's about building genuine skill and diligence, building competence. Epictetus had this great line. Every art has a certain strength and confidence in the things which belong to it.
An art, like speaking.
Exactly. He uses the analogy of writing your name. Let's say your name is Dion. You're not afraid to write Dion, right? Why? Because you've practiced it countless times.
Sure, it's automatic.
Right. That same confidence, he argues, applies to speaking skillfully, something you practice and learn. It's about diligent training, consistent effort, repeated action. Not just knowing the theory, but actually doing it, like learning an instrument or a sport.
So the practice itself builds the internal confidence, regardless of the audience. Makes sense. What about controlling your character when you're up there feeling exposed?
Yes, your character is entirely within your control, even under pressure. When you stand before an audience, you choose the character you embody. You can consciously choose to cultivate sincerity in your voice, dignity in your posture, temperance in your responses.
Even if you're feeling nervous inside.
Even then, as Marcus Aurelius noted, these inner virtues are within our power at any moment. You have the power to, as he put it, carry yourself with authority simply by choosing these inner qualities. It's an internal stance.
So you project authority from the inside out, based on your chosen virtues.
Precisely. Epictetus, he was typically blunt about this. He basically argued that a person of good character, someone acting with integrity and virtue, shouldn't be fundamentally shaken by external stuff. He thought if you're truly acting virtuously, you shouldn't be pale with fear or trembling visibly.
That sounds a bit tough.
Yeah.
Almost like saying, just don't be scared.
It can sound that way, but the deeper point is that your core self, your inner state, is your own creation. It's built on something more solid than fleeting external reactions or opinions. Your reaction to what others might do or say is entirely your choice.
Okay, I see the distinction. It's about where you place your sense of self-worth. Not in their reaction, but in your own integrity and effort. That's powerful. It means the real success isn't the applause, but showing up prepared and acting virtuously.
Exactly. That's the win you control.
But, okay, let's talk about those uncontrollables again.
Yeah.
The audience's reaction, the potential judgment, the criticism, maybe even just awkward silence, those feel incredibly real and very much out of our hands. How can we genuinely not be affected by them? It feels like ignoring reality.
Right, and they are external, and therefore, as we've established, not in your control. The Stoics weren't saying pretend they don't exist. They offered powerful ways to frame them, to change your relationship to them. It's about reframing, not ignoring.
Okay.
Well, Epictetus put it starkly. He said, if a tyrant threatens to cut off your head, you can respond by recognizing you threaten my head, not you threaten me.
Separating the physical threat from the threat to your inner self, your will.
Precisely. If you perceive these external things, the tyrant's threat, the audience's judgment, as not concerning you in the sense of your core virtue and inner peace, then the threat does not threaten you at all. Marcus Aurelius echoes this beautifully. Take away opinion, and you have removed the complaint, I am hurt. Remove I am hurt, and you remove the harm.
Take away the opinion. Whose opinion? Mine or theirs?
Your opinion about their opinion, or your opinion about the external event itself. Their judgment of your speech is their opinion, a function of their own impressions and biases, not an objective truth about you. You choose whether to internalize it, whether to form the opinion I am hurt by it. That is the part you control.
So the harm isn't in their judgment, but in my acceptance of that judgment as hurtful.
Exactly. That's a tough but incredibly liberating thought. But what about that immediate physical rush of fear? Those initial jitters, the shaky hands, the knot in the stomach, are those also just opinion we can dismiss? It feels more primal than that.
Yeah, like touching a hot stove, you pull back before you even think.
Right, and you've hit on another critical Stoic distinction. They differentiated between genuine passions. These are excessive impulses based on faulty judgments, where you fully assent to a negative belief like, this is terrible, I'm going to fail, and what they called pre-emotions.
Pre-emotions.
Yeah, these are basically inconsequential feelings or physiological reactions that happen without our full rational agreement or assent. That initial jump when startled, the sudden adrenaline surge before you speak, maybe even unbidden tears watching a sad movie.
Those are pre-emotions.
The Stoics would say, yes, they're your body's first unthinking response, like your hot stove example. They'd advise, recognize that initial knot in your stomach, the shaky hands, as just feelings, mere pre-emotions. Don't assent to them. Don't let that initial physiological blip turn into a full-blown narrative of fear and failure in your mind.
So observe the physical sensation without attaching a catastrophic judgment to it. Like, okay, heart's pounding, interesting, not, oh no, I'm panicking.
Precisely. You observe it, acknowledge it perhaps, but you don't give it the power to define your experience or dictate your actions. You withhold that final assent.
That makes sense. It's about catching it early. But what about those times when our minds do run away with us? Imagining the absolute worst case scenario, total public humiliation.
Yes. Catastrophizing. For that, the Stoics employed techniques like cognitive distancing and the famous premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity.
Okay, cognitive distancing.
Marcus Aurelius wrote about learning to mentally withdraw or separate his mind from unpleasant bodily sensations like pain or illness. He viewed them as morally indifferent, neither good nor bad in themselves, and ultimately harmless to his core self, his ruling reason. This practice helps you withhold those negative value judgments from feelings of anxiety. You see the feeling, but you distance your core self from it.
Like stepping back and observing it rather than being consumed by it.
Exactly. And then there's the premeditation practice. You can practice imaginative premeditation, where you deliberately, calmly imagine a situation you wouldn't want to happen.
Isn't that just worrying in advance?
It's different. It's not about anxious worrying or catastrophizing. It's a rational exercise. For a speaker, maybe you imagine your slides freezing, or someone asking a really aggressive question, or maybe just a few people looking bored.
Okay, and the point is?
The point isn't to dwell on the horror, but to mentally rehearse your response. To realize these things, while maybe awkward or unpleasant, are manageable. They aren't the end of the world. By imagining these less than ideal but survivable scenarios, you loosen our attachment to external events, as the theory goes. It helps you see setbacks aren't fatal blows to your self-worth.
So it's a kind of decatastrophizing, making the potential threat seem less overwhelming by facing them mentally beforehand.
Precisely. It helps you reevaluate the perceived threat level and builds confidence in your ability to cope if something does go slightly wrong. You've already thought, okay, if that happens, I can handle it.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
It really sounds like the Stoics gave us this incredibly powerful mental toolkit tools to reframe threats, manage emotional responses, and basically take charge of our inner experience. So let's bring it home for our listener. What are some really actionable Stoic practices they can apply, maybe this week or even starting today, to manage those public speaking fears or general social anxiety?
Okay, yeah, let's get concrete. I've got 5 key practices for you. First, something you can do daily, a daily control exercise.
Okay, what's that involve?
At the end of each day, maybe just take 5 minutes. Think about a specific event, maybe an awkward conversation, or worrying about an upcoming presentation. Consciously distinguish what was in your complete control versus incomplete control.
Give me an example.
Sure. Say you felt awkward at a work meeting, you'd reflect. Okay, preparing my points beforehand, that was in my complete control. Speaking clearly and honestly, also in my control. How others reacted, whether they agreed, whether they seemed engaged, that was in incomplete control, largely external.
Right. So you consciously separate your actions from their reactions.
Exactly. By doing this regularly, you train your brain to stop blaming yourself for the uncontrollables and stop worrying excessively about future ones. It really helps build that peace of mind. It builds the mental muscle, as you said earlier.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What's number 2?
Second, focus on the present. Seneca had great advice here. Focus instead on whatever is happening right now and use all your resources to deal with it, not wasting any on that which is not under your control.
So stop the what-if spiral about the future.
Exactly. It's a powerful antidote to that anticipatory anxiety that often plagues public speaking. When you feel anxiety about the future talk, bring your attention sharply back to the immediate task. Maybe it's just preparing your next slide, or taking a deep breath, or engaging in the conversation you're actually in right now. Deal with what is, not what might be.
That's a fantastic grounding technique, especially when your mind starts racing ahead. Okay, number 3.
Third, cultivate virtuous habits. Epictetus pointed out how powerful habit is. He said, since habit is such a powerful influence, we should set a contrary habit against that.
Fight fire with fire, or fight bad habits with good ones.
Pretty much. If you have a habit of anxiety or maybe avoiding social situations, you can intentionally cultivate contrary habits. Habits of confidence, of showing up, of acting with integrity, even when it feels uncomfortable. For instance, instead of mentally replaying a past awkward moment, consciously redirect that energy. Maybe prepare for your next interaction with sincere, positive intentions. Act as if you are the calm, confident person you want to be.
Fake it till you make it, but with virtue.
Sort of, but it's more about acting with the character you wish to embody. The actions themselves shape you over time. It's not just about stopping bad habits, but actively building robust, positive ones.
Got it. What's next?
Fourth, remember that for the Stoics, philosophy is therapy. It wasn't just armchair theorizing. They saw philosophy as therapy for the soul, an active practice meant to change our way of seeing and consequently our mode of being. The goal was practical, reducing unhappiness, increasing resilience. So engage with these ideas not just intellectually, but as a way of living.
See it as a practical tool for well-being, not just an academic subject.
Exactly. And finally, number 5, look to role models. Socrates as a model, for instance. Epictetus absolutely revered him. He saw Socrates as the exemplary representative of skill in argument, yes, but also in courage.
How so?
Think about it. Socrates demonstrated incredible unflinching courage facing public scrutiny, hostility, even death. He spoke with confidence and integrity to powerful tyrants, to the dicasts, judges, he who talked in his prison. Why? Because he focused entirely on what he could control. His message, his principles, his integrity, his internal state. He was a living example of freedom from external pressures.
Focusing on his own actions and character, not the outcome. It all comes back to that.
It really does.
These practices, they feel like they're not just about coping with fear, are they? They seem geared towards fundamentally transforming your entire relationship with fear. Building this inner resilience, this inner citadel that external events just can't shake as easily.
That's a perfect way to put it, an inner citadel.
So we've really seen how these ancient Stoic principles offer this surprisingly practical step-by-step roadmap for navigating very modern anxieties, public speaking, social fear. It boils down to meticulously identifying what's truly yours to control your preparation, your intentions, your character, and calmly, rationally accepting what isn't the audience's reaction, external circumstances. Doing that allows you to approach these situations with a genuinely new sense of confidence and authenticity.
It really is about mastering your inner world, isn't it? Regardless of the chaos or uncertainty of the outer world.
Yeah. So, thinking about all this, What does it mean for you, listening right now? What if the most courageous act isn't somehow managing to not feel fear? What if it's actually the decision to speak your truth, to show up with integrity and preparation, even while the butterflies are going wild in your stomach?
Choosing action alongside the feeling.
Exactly. What is mastering your internal response is the ultimate performance, regardless of the applause, regardless of the critics. The Stoics seem to suggest that true freedom, true confidence, isn't found by avoiding the stage or avoiding the difficult conversation. It's found in owning your internal state while you're right there in the middle of it all, knowing that your character, your effort, your integrity is the only true measure of your success.